hard on those brakes. Ooh, they bite nicely. Tucks in, and it does want to plow the nose. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 23 Volvo XC90 Recharge. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. No stylistic changes for the 23 model year, but here we have the ultimate trim, the range topper, which brings things like this bright chrome for the grille. We have standard projector LED headlights with the Thor's Hammer DRLs and turn signals. Below that are some non-functional corner vents with more bright chrome. This paint job is called Blue Denim Metallic. And even in the sun, the color kind of falls flat for me. I think the XC90 looks absolutely the best in black. At the side, the ultimate trim gets 21-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion all-season tires, 275 section front and rear. More bright chrome for the side trim, windows, and roof rails. Here is your charge port door with up to level 2 charging capability. Top up that battery in around 5 hours. Stepping back to look at the profile. The XC90 silhouette has not changed in years, but I don't think it necessarily needs to. It's still super clean and has aged very well. At the back are those signature tall taillights with LED turn signals. XC90 badge on the left, T8 all-wheel drive Recharge on the right. Bright chrome for the lower bumper, and there are 2 hidden exhaust outlets. To me, the XC90 looks a class above the mainstream for sure. Looks comfortable in the luxury segment. But do you think it looks exciting enough? Or does it need to be? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this gray wool blend interior, which is a no-cost option on Ultimate trims. You either get Nappa leather or this. To get into the third row, pull up on this tab. The seat will angle and slide, giving you a kind of narrow access point, but I can still get back into the third row without too much of an issue. And here is the seat slid almost all the way back on its rails. This is my knee room situation. Knees are kind of pressed against the seat back, and my head is against the roof. Furthermore, these seats don't recline at all, so they're gonna get a thumbs down from me. No adults back here, maybe kids. You get cup holders on either side, a little bit of storage, no USB ports, but you do get an air vent. And to get out, pull the tab and slide it forward. Having now extracted myself, let's look at the doors. We've got leather up top with contrast stitching. You get standard sunshades, wood trim, an upgraded Bowers & Wilkins sound system is equipped to this vehicle. Wood for the door inserts, wool for the door inserts, leather with padding for your armrest. Quite a bit of padding, oh that's very nice. One touch up down windows and injection molding down low. Stepping in. This is behind my own seat at 6 feet tall. The knee room situation is okay with injection molding on the seat back and a map pocket. Good sized foot pockets to slide my feet under. Thigh support is decent, but it can get better because I can slide the seat back a little bit further. And now we're talking. Headroom is great. Head clears the roof very easily. That gets the thumbs up from me. There is a 4-zone climate control system here with rear heated seats on Ultimate trims, air vents, and 2 USB-C ports right there. The draft shaft hump is a bit large, but getting into the middle isn't too terribly difficult. The only thing about the middle seat is that it doesn't leave much room on either side for your passengers. So if you got 3 full-size adults in the second row, it could be a tight squeeze. If you don't have a middle passenger, then there is an armrest that comes down with 2 deploying cup holders. And if you've got a toddler, then you'll appreciate the built-in, can I do this one-handed? Can I? Yes, the built-in booster seat. That's neat. Stay. All right, let's check out the front. Before we listen to that door close noise, I did forget to mention the panoramic glass roof that brings in lots of light. All right, here goes. So solid. Plus there's smart keyless entry for the rear and front doors. These front seats are power adjusting, including a thigh extender. They're as standard heated and ventilated on the Ultimate trim. If you got the Nappa leather, going with the wool means they're just going to be heated. There is an aluminum recharge tread plate. Pressing and holding this button will pop open the tailgates. Behind the third row of seats, we find 16 cubic feet of space. Under the floor is a slot for your charging cables. If you want to bring down the third row, pull on these tabs and the seats will tumble forward. That's going to give you 65 cubic feet of space. And if you need more room, you got to go to the back doors, pull on a tab, and that's going to bring down the second row as well, giving you a maximum of 86 cubic feet of space. That's not class leading, but still halfway decent for a mid-size SUV. And if you get the air suspension option, then you can raise or lower the height of this trunk to make it easier to load in cargo. Power close and lock is found on the tailgate. The front doors have the same materials as the back. We add in power adjusting and power folding door mirrors and 3-position memory for the driver's seat. Drivers get a heated leather wrap steering wheel as standard on Ultimate trims. It feels good in the hands. There are no paddles in the back of the wheel though, and these gloss black controls will show fingerprints very easily. And I wish this airbag cover was in leather. There is a digital instrument cluster, head-up display on Ultimate trims, stitched leather up on the dashboard, your little tweeter in a teardrop shape, open pore wood trim on the passenger side, and then here is a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system that's starting to show its age a little bit in terms of the size of the screen and the graphics. The responsiveness is still solid, and it's still pretty easy to use. It has wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Below that screen is a volume knob and seat controls. There's stitched leather around the console, open pore wood trim covering, 2 cup holders, and a DC outlet. There's gloss black here in a spot that I really don't appreciate because it will easily smudge, scratch, and collect dust. I love this crystal gear selector on Ultimate trims. Under the stitched console cover is not a whole lot of storage. We've got 2 USB-C ports, 1 for data, 1 for charging. Visibility is just kind of okay. So here we've got the third row headrest folded, and you can do that to the second row as well. But if you've got passengers there, we can see there's a blind spot. Thankfully, we've got standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. The look of this wool interior is very cool. I do think though that if you've got kids, even though it's a performance blend, it's not going to be as resistant to stains as leather would be, and the technology just needs an upgrade. Otherwise, it's a beautiful interior, it's very well built, and I'm ready to take the XC90 Recharge out for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. It's interesting how those chimes come on. It's almost like they were caught off guard. Hey guys, we got a chime. The vehicle's on, okay? Just wake up and chime. Our drive mode is selected here. It's in the screen under driving. You have these to choose from: hybrid, power, pure, off-road, and constant all-wheel drive. And then below that, we have battery usage settings. So you can either have it just expel the electric energy until the battery is drained, or you can have it hold on to charge for later use, or you can actually have it charge the battery with your internal combustion motor. Right now we'll be in auto, and we'll actually go into pure, which is the all-electric driving mode. Then to go into reverse, press forward on the crystal gear selector. That brings up a very high-resolution camera system. It kind of looks like it's in a cave, though, because it's under a ledge by the license plate so that rain doesn't fall on it. You have a 360 view, looking at the front camera angle, also high-resolution, side views, and then that back view. We'll scoot on out of here. We'll go back into drive. And start off with a turning radius test. That is excellent. For a 3-row mid-size SUV to pivot right around like that without rear wheel steering is amazing. Turn signal sound is a unique noise. And I learned recently that tapping sound Volvo did to kind of mimic a twig snapping sound in a Swedish forest. Cool fact, don't know if it makes me like the sound better. Now for the world famous horn test. Very conventional. With that strange turn signal sound, I expected something more obscure, but it's not. It's just a good horn. Now for the powertrain discussion. We have at our disposal a 2.0 liter turbocharged and supercharged 4-cylinder paired with an electric motor powering the rear wheels, giving us all-wheel drive, and a combined output of 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. Right here we can see that we've got 16 miles of electric juice left in the battery, but when you're fully charged, you have 35 miles of pure electric range. I'm going to activate the regen braking by pulling back once more on the gear selector. And this system has the capacity to be one pedal drive. Right there, I had to apply a little bit of braking force. Easing off the line in pure electric is so relaxing. And it will stay in pure electric driving unless you fully plant your foot on the throttle. But you don't really need to do that because there's plenty of power here. The ride quality is sublime on these adaptive dampers and air springs. The air springs are an available option. And these seats deserve a love letter. The ergonomics are flawless. It just keeps the blood flowing, so you can be in them for a long period of time and still be fresh at your destination. The padding is a little bit firm, but it doesn't even bother me because their shape is so spot on. I love a good seat. Honestly, it can make or break a vehicle. Now, I mentioned this system has the capacity for one pedal driving, but that's not going to come from just regen braking. Because I showed you, I took my foot off the throttle and it slowed us down pretty well, but not in the way that you would want for one pedal driving. The way you actually get there is with supplementing that with engine braking. And the way you do that is by, and this is annoying that I have to do all these steps just to change a drive mode, but I hit the gear icon, then I go into driving, and then I activate one of the internal combustion motor modes like hybrid. When I've done that, I now have the ability to adjust my regen braking level with the gear selector. So if I go to the right, then it's not going to be as intense as I'm upshifting here. So go to the right, I'm in B5, taking my foot off the throttle. The slowing is modest, but if I go down to 3, we're slowing down much more. 2, really slowing us down. And 1 is like if I put my foot on the brake. Now, do I expect most people to do all of those steps day in and day out? No, you're really just gonna, let's go back to pure, you're really just gonna go into B mode and use the regen braking that you have available to you. Now, while we're talking about modes and configurations, why would you ever really need to mess with the battery usage settings? Well, if you like the gamification of things, you'll appreciate these, because if you plot your driving just right, let's say you have a commute to work where you start out driving around town, then you're going to get on the highway, and then you'll get off the highway for another few miles of around town driving. If you left it in auto mode, it's just going to use up the battery as much as it has available charge, and then you're going to be using internal combustion motor and hybrid battery in a more conventional hybrid setup. But if you were to start in the pure electric mode, letting the battery just be used as needed, and then you got on the highway and you said, I want to either hold on to the charge or in fact actually charge up the battery for that last stint of around town driving, you'll actually be maximizing your electric range and indeed your fuel economy. So just something to think about, and I like that you have that option. Now we've got to see if the XC90 Recharge with all of its power and torque is actually quick to 60. So we're going to do a real world 0 to 60 test, and in preparation for that, I'm going to hit the power drive mode, which will mean that we're activating both the internal combustion motor and the electric powertrain. And with my race box setup here, we're going to be able to use the launch control function. Yes, this vehicle has launch control, where I just hold my foot hard on the brake while pinning the throttle. It'll build up the revs and let us get on out of here quickly. So here goes. Braking, accelerating, holding, letting go. Some tire spin. And there's 60 in 5.2 seconds. Pretty quick. Not exceptionally fast for the power figures, but let's see about the mid-range next. So just putting my foot down. Oh, that feels significantly more robust. So for whatever reason, off the line it didn't feel crazy, but this mid-range and in power mode, it is quickening the throttle response, and so I'm feeling that surge. Momentum builds quickly. The braking is very easy to modulate. I love that. The feel of the pedal, I didn't have any of this mystery pedal there. I knew exactly how much braking force to apply to slow us down. The 4-cylinder sound. So in power mode, if you're really getting on it, isn't bad at all. But let's go now to the hybrid setting. Let the IC kind of cool off, and let's listen for the NVH level at speed. It is very relaxing to drive the XC90 Recharge. It's quiet. Yeah, you get some of the wind, tire, and road noise, but they're really kept minimal. And so you just sink into the seats and enjoy your commute. And our last performance-oriented test for the XC90 Recharge is going to be some high-speed handling and braking. So I'm back in the power drive mode. I'm going to firm up the steering feel and carry some speed into this curve. Hard on those brakes. Ooh, they bite nicely. Tucks in, and it does want to plow the nose. Unfortunate. So yeah, we got some understeer there, and we had quite a bit of lean, and so the correction I had to make with the steering was more intense. What I didn't experience, which I expected to, was a robbing of the power, because you can't turn off the traction or stability control in this vehicle. But I had none of that. It kept the power going, and so I was able to then migrate us out of a sloppy corner with a little bit of extra power. And I also want to praise that braking. We had that nice initial bite, and it scrubbed that speed before we tucked into the corner, where the steering was pretty light. This is clearly not a sporty SUV. It is one that can go very quickly when needed, but is more focused on the luxury side of things. And that's going to lead us into the MilesPerHr word of the day, which for the 23 XC90 Recharge is prim, meaning neat or orderly. That is the overwhelming sensation I get from this vehicle. Everything is so well built, it's well designed, that you just know where things are. And that gives you the relaxation while driving it. The build quality lends itself to a quiet cabin. The powertrain is smooth. It's just all very neat and orderly. Before we discuss pricing and competition, let's talk about the top speed and fuel economy. Top speed for all Volvo vehicles is 112 miles per hour. The fuel economy of the XC90 Recharge, when you've fully depleted that battery, is 26 combined. but the MPGe or equivalent rating with that battery is 58 combined. I mentioned the fully electric range is 35 miles. The charging, if you've got a level 2 outlet, which is the max charging rate you can do for the XC90 Recharge, is about 5 hours, but if you're using a 110 household outlet, then you're looking at 14 hours. The starting figure for the XC90 Recharge in the core trim is about $73,000. If you want the ultimate trim, it's 81 grand, and this vehicle as tested is a little over 85,000 bucks. Competitors in this plug-in hybrid luxury SUV space include vehicles like the BMW X5, xDrive, 45e, it's a long string of letters and numbers, that starts at around $66,000. It makes 389 horsepower, gets to 60 in 4.7 seconds, has an electric range of 31 miles, and a combined MPGe rating of 50. There's also the Porsche Cayenne E Hybrid that starts at $88,000, makes 455 horsepower, just like the XC90 Recharge, gets to 60 in 4.7 seconds, has an electric range of just 13 miles, and an MPGe rating of, I can't remember, it's in the spec. So that means that the XC90 Recharge is in the middle of the price territory. It has tied the Cayenne E Hybrid for power, has the most all-electric range, and the best MPGe rating. I think that this is the one I would choose. The styling is clean and cohesive. I would choose it in black. The interior is equally clean and just pleasant to look at and utilize. I think the technology needs a little bit of an upgrade, and I would get the Nappa leather seats. It is the most well-rounded. It has the best range. The only thing I'll say is kind of about the whole segment. 35 miles being the max you're going to get in this segment is not quite enough for everyday use. You're going to either use that up on your commute to work for most people. Maybe you'll get to and from work for most people, but you won't then be able to go run errands in all-electric mode. So you're going to have to tap into that gas engine, and I just think that you should have the ability to use fully electric mode for your around-town driving while having the ability of having the internal combustion motor for any longer trips. 35 miles, not quite enough, but that's just a critique for the full segment. The XC90 Recharge is the best that we have at this moment in time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. Please let me know in the comments which you would choose, the X5, the Cayenne E Hybrid, or this XC90 Recharge. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share it. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to get notified, and I'll see you next time.